A very good evening to all our viewers. This is News First, where people come first, and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Schools closed for a week starting tomorrow. Many services in crisis due to the fuel shortage. Sri Lanka Administrative Services Association also sounds the alarm. Minister of Power comments on arrival of fuel shipments to the country. Discussions underway to obtain petrol and kerosene from Malaysia. Suffering people take to the street. Auditor General finds the true reason for the medicine shortage. SJB launch island-wide protests. Hand over the government to those who can and leave. Former president warns of the consequences if an all-party government is not established.
ජනතාව පාරට බැහැලා රට ඉතාම නරක තැනකට පත් වේවි.
Main sponsor.
Earn a highest interest rate of 21% for 4 months fixed deposits. LB Yasaisuru.
Now the stories in detail. The Ministry of Education has decided to grant holidays for all government and government-approved private schools from the 4th to the 8th of this month. The decision was taken against a backdrop where the country is experiencing a severe shortage of fuel.
The decision was reached at a discussion held today by Zoom involving officials from the Ministry of Education, Provincial Education Secretaries and Provincial Education Directors. They had taken into consideration the level of attendance displayed by school principals, teachers and students during the course of the last 2 weeks. The Ministry of Education says that any school time lost during this week will be covered during the next school holidays.
The education of future generations in the country is in jeopardy. People across the country are united in their voice when they say that it was incompetent governance that led to this crisis. Non-partisan protests organized by the people were held in several areas across the country today.
A protest organised by the people was held at the Diyata Uyana opposite the main entrance to Parliament today. A protest organised by the people was also held in Jayala today.
Main sponsor.
Earn a highest interest rate of 21% for 4 months fixed deposits. LB Yasaisuru.
Minister of Power Kanchana Wijayasekara spoke about the steps taken by the government to solve the fuel crisis in the future.
පළවෙනි ඩීසල් නෞකාව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ 8 වෙනිදා සහ 9 වෙනිදා අතර.
We're expecting the first shipment of diesel between the 8th and the 9th from the Coral Energy Company. We're expecting another shipment of diesel from the Vitol Company between the 11th and 14th of this month. If IOC agrees based on our response, we're expecting another shipment of diesel between the 15th and 17th of this month. For petrol, we have confirmed dates only for the IOC shipment of petrol. It's due to arrive in the country on the 22nd or 23rd of this month. Also, we have made a request from the Malaysian government, and they have confirmed with us that this has received their approval to bring down 50,000 metric tons of petrol and 10,000 metric tons of kerosene.
පෙට්‍රල් නෞකාවක් සහ මෙට්‍රික් ටන් 10000ක භූමිතෙල් අවශ්‍යතාවය සම්පූර්ණ කරන්න ඒ රජයට අනුමැතිය ලැබිලා තියෙනවා කියලා.
When will the fuel crisis be solved?
මේ ඉදිරි දින 6-7 අපිට අමාරු කාලයක් එයි.
We will be facing some tough times during the next 6 to 7 days. Also, I make a request from industrialists and exporters. If you can pay in dollars, there is an account at the CPC. Although we cannot provide your monthly requirement at once, we will provide you your weekly fuel requirement from the 10th. From the 10th, we hope to provide stocks of fuel to the people of this country.
ජනතාවට බාධාවකින් තොරව අභියෝග නැතුව නෙවෙයි බාධාවකින් තොරව ලැබෙන ඉන්ධන තොග කළමනාකරණයකින් ලබා දෙන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
What will happen to the token system that was introduced?
There is no token system. That is what I said before. Do not misunderstand. The tokens were issued to the people who were in queues on the 23rd and 24th of last month, and we informed them that they will be contacted when we receive fuel on the 10th or the 15th. We are not issuing tokens at fuel stations today. That is something that was made up. This is unfortunate. This is not something done by our ministry. It is only a measure taken by the security forces to control the congestion at the time.
The fuel crisis has not only affected education but many other sectors as well. People stood in long queues to get fuel without engaging in their daily duties. Due to the token system not being implemented in a proper manner, clashes were reported in several areas. A tense situation arose at the Godagama IOC petrol station last night. The group demanded a copy of the list of names of the people who had received tokens. Our correspondent reported that fuel was later distributed as normal. The Sipetco filling station in Veveldeniya received fuel today. A tense situation arose when people without tokens were unable to obtain fuel. Therefore, the police adopted a system where for every 10 people with a token, one person without a token was allowed to obtain a maximum of 1,000 rupees worth of fuel. Meanwhile, a tense situation arose near the Gampaha IOC filling station today when police officers were given priority in the distribution of fuel. Our correspondent reported that with the intervention of the military, fuel was distributed to those waiting in queues.
People continue to stand in long queues at the IOC fuel station in Negombo today.
It has been 4 days since they have come to Sri Lanka. Tourism cannot happen at this rate. How will they travel? They have been in Sri Lanka for 4 days. Sri Lanka has a dollar shortage. Unable to travel, they are stuck in their rooms. They are unable to travel anywhere. They are talking about the dollar shortage. This is an incompetent government. Do they not know that foreigners can't travel? Do they not know that they can bring dollars to the country?
Parliament and its 225 members are non-essential service. The entire government must go home. They cannot continue to govern this country by changing heads.
Everything else in the country is an essential service. The only non-essential service in the country is the Parliament and its 225 members. MPs get enough fuel while we are standing in queues. Parliamentarians do not have to wait in line for fuel or gas. They get everything they need. We have been waiting in line for days and we still cannot get fuel.
Multiple state parties have raised concerns over the issuance of fuel for essential services, as there is still confusion as to who belongs to these essential services.
In a letter to the President, the Sri Lanka Administrative Services Association emphasized that the government should take responsibility for the adverse consequences arising from the aggravation of the current public unrest if state sector employees become frustrated and deviate from essential services. They point out that ensuring the safety and the rights of state sector officers by declaring a national emergency situation and establishing a proper mechanism under a particular officer is a timely need. Meanwhile, the Met Department points out that by not declaring it as an essential service amidst the fuel shortage, the department is facing severe inconveniences. A senior spokesperson said the department cannot bear responsibility if any lives are lost by a sudden change in weather or by a tsunami, as the department is incapable of issuing warnings. Meanwhile, wildlife officers say that by not declaring their services as essential, various operations including driving away elephants that are encroaching onto villages have become an arduous task. Trade unions are requesting services rendered by the Inland Revenue Department to be made essential. The Joint Secretary of the Inland Revenue Services Association, HAK Udayasiri, said that the process of increasing the state tax revenue should start immediately. The Water Supply and Drainage Workers Union today pointed out the consequences of not including the services of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board in the list of essential services. Public transport is disrupted and we can't go to filling stations because other services are declared essential and we are not. If this is the case, how can we report to work come next week with zero fuel in our tanks? Staff will not be able to come on time to work. The supply of water will be disrupted and repairs will also be delayed. The supply of water will be affected and it cannot be prevented. With fuel being issued to selected services, people have now opted to use public transport to commute to their places of work. However, public transport has also been affected by the fuel shortage. Will railway operations come to a halt next week? There won't be fuel for private vehicles. Railway operations will definitely come to a halt next week. If a solution is not provided to this issue, the remaining workforce will come to a standstill. We await the measures that will be taken by the minister.
The shortage of medicines, including essential medicines, and their high prices are affecting the people further. Our correspondents reported that there is a severe shortage of medicines at private pharmacies.
Medicines like TNT, which are placed under the tongue, medicines for small children are very scarce, and antibiotics like Cephalexin are almost over. The prices have increased by around 101%. The people cannot afford medicine. People who used to buy medicine for a week now only purchase medicine for a day. That is how difficult it is to survive. Wherever you go, even if 5 types of medicine are prescribed, you have to visit around 15 pharmacies. I visited 3 pharmacies to buy this medicine, but it was not available. I was told to purchase 500, but I only purchased 250, as that was all that is available. I brought this one card for 5,040 rupees today. Medicine for small children are not available. The prices have increased by about 4 times.
Government parties, including health authorities, on many occasions have said that the dollar crisis caused the shortage of medicine. Is this true? A recent report released by the Auditor General has revealed that the main reason for the shortage of drugs in the country is not the trade deficit. It states that the trade deficit is only the proximate cause for the shortage in the supply of medicines. The Auditor General points out in his report the computer system established to manage medical supplies not being properly updated and not properly used, the lack of proper coordination and communication between the Ministry of Health, the State Ministry, the Medical Supplies Division, the Drug Regulatory Corporation and the State Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Corporation are the reasons for the shortage of drugs. The situation may have been caused by the lack of a process to constantly monitor the progress and performance of the medicines ordered by the State Pharmaceutical Corporation, the failure to order according to a procurement schedule from a year, the lack of proper coordination between the institutions responsible for supplying essential medicines and the inefficiency of those institutions. For example, due to the delay in the timely supply of essential life-saving drug, one vaccine that was purchased for 481 rupees from the local market now had to be purchased at a higher price, between 1,956 rupees and 4,697 rupees by the hospitals. We tried to contact Dr. D.R.K. Herath, Deputy Director General of Medical Supplies Division of the Ministry of Health, to inquire into this, but his phone connection was disconnected.
Today is the second day of the protest week launched by the Samagi Jana Balavagiya, demanding the government to resign. This protest was held in the Navalapitiya town. Ranil Wickremesinghe has taken up the post of Prime Minister and is protecting Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his corrupt lackeys. It's been 2 months since the so-called economic pundit Ranil Wickremesinghe took over the government. The entire country is helpless today. The protesters engaged in religious activities at the Kataragama Devalaya in the Navalapitiya town. The Samagi Jana Balavagiya also staged a protest in Mathura. The protesters travelled to the town on bicycles. The people of this country are suffering without food. People are dying in queues. People are dying without medicine. Children are stuck at home with no way to go to school. We are demanding for Gota and Ranil to go home. This is enough. 2 months ago on the 9th, Mahinda Rajapaksa went home. On the 9th of last month, Basil Rajapaksa left the government. On the 9th of this month, the entire country will join hands to send Gotabaya home. We request the President and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to resign immediately. Do not destroy this country any further. We are ready to join hands with all the progressive forces in the country and develop the country. We are ready to lead this journey. We request everyone in the country to join with the Aragalaya to send this government home.
Those were the views expressed by leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, where he commented on the fact that he is ready to work with all progressive factions in the country to develop the nation. Meanwhile, Maithripala Sirisena, the former president, expressed these views.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena spoke about the consequences that the country will have to face if an all-party government is not formed. Judging by the protests and the situation of the people right now and the blessings of the Mahasangha, the country will soon go towards establishing an all-party government. If that does not happen, the people will take to the streets and the country will be put in a bad situation.
Veteran actor Jackson Anthony, who was involved in an accident yesterday, is currently receiving treatment at the intensive care unit of the Colombo National Hospital.
Jackson Anthony was on his way back after a recording when he met with the accident. The vehicle he was travelling in had hit a wild elephant in Morogoda Thalava, Anuradhapura. A group travelling in the vehicle, including Jackson Anthony, were admitted to the Anuradhapura hospital. 2 others who were injured in the accident were being treated at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, while Jackson Anthony and his brother were being treated in the ICU.
This is very dangerous. There is no solution to this issue. Even if we meet with an accident here, no one can come and check up on us. None of the street lights are on. If the street lights are working, people will be able to see an elephant if it is on the road. We came running to see what happened. The elephant went to the other side of the road slowly. It fell down about twice. The elephant was also critically injured in the accident. We then checked on the injured in the vehicle.
Jackson Anthony was transferred to the Colombo National Hospital this morning. A spokesperson said that he underwent surgery and was admitted to the ICU. This is the location where the accident occurred. Several accidents had occurred at this location where motorists had collided with wild elephants. A similar accident of this nature was recorded in the same area less than a year ago. The Morogoda Forest Reserve is located in close proximity to the scene of the accident. According to area residents, elephants in the reserve often encroach into the Adhikarigama, Tirappane and Inguruweva villages. The area residents also said that since ditches were cut to deter elephants from crossing the road, elephants who usually cross the road along the elephant pass are now resorting to cross the road from various locations.
The elephants crossed this ditch. They only smuggled sand from here. They didn't do anything to stop the elephants crossing. Now the elephants are crossing the road from multiple locations. In the past, these elephants only crossed the road from one location. The villagers here and motorists knew where this elephant pass was. Now the elephants cross this ditch and cross the road from various locations. The ditches are useless. The elephants are in the villages. The ministers smuggled the sand and cut down the forest and built hotels. They stole and now we are begging.
However, there are signs along this road warning motorists of wild elephants along the road. Shouldn't more be done to prevent such accidents taking place over and over again?
Well, Sri Lankans are facing challenging times at present. But even in these extremely difficult conditions, there's reason to celebrate the talent and skill of our young people. That's what the Voice Teen Finals is all about tonight, and it's currently underway at the Stein Studios in Ratmalana. Let's now cross over live to the Stein Studios. You're watching live footage of the Voice Teen Finals at the Stein Studios in Ratmalana, which is being telecast on our sister channel, Silvester TV. The finalists are Sasindu Raveen, Rasal Theminder, Praneersha Tyagaraja and Navodya Pereira.
Sirasa, your family channel, brought down this globally franchised reality show so that our young people can showcase their talent on a global stage. Tonight, 4 young Sri Lankans will battle it out to win the Voice Teens crown. Tonight, we will show the world that Sri Lanka can and will overcome through the passion, grit and talent of our youth.
Well, time for the short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
මොකද මහත්තයා මේ
නෑ මේ ගෙදර සිංක් එකේ
අයි මහත්තයා ස්ලෝන් නෙවෙයිද දැම්මේ
හදිස්සියට බාල පයිප් එකක් දැම්මේ නැද්ද මුදලාලි ඊයේ පෙරේදා කඩේ රිපෙයාර් කරන්න ගෙනාපු ගම් චුට්ටා
මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න වලට හොඳම විසඳුම ස්ලෝන් ගම් චුට්ටා හැබැයි ඉක්මනින් දාගන්න ස්ලෝන් පයිප් එක
ස්ලෝන් ගම් චුට්ටා හැම ගෙදරකම සිටිය යුතු ජනනල කාර්මිකයා දැන් රඟම ග්‍රොසරියෙන් මිලදී ගන්න.
One person was killed while another was reported missing due to the inclement weather in the island during the past 24 hours.
"25 houses in Hydrid Estate in Rosakalle, Wattavalla in Hatton were inundated after heavy showers battered the area last night. 25 families have been relocated to safe shelters.
Rough seas in the south affected the flow of traffic along the Galle-Colombo road. Our correspondent reported that the road between Uruatta Junction and Kahava Junction in Ambalangoda continues to be closed. People point out that travelling along this road has become extremely dangerous due to the low-quality stone barrier that was erected at the cost of billions of rupees. Meanwhile, with swell waves in the south yesterday, boats were left along one lane of the main road in Galle and Mathura. Our boats and equipment have been damaged. We have to now leave our boats on the street. We lost the coast after the road was expanded. Now we have no option but to leave our boats on the street. Heavy traffic congestions were reported along the road this morning. The protective barrier at the Dodandua Fisheries Harbour is at risk of being destroyed due to rough seas. Samudra Mavata in Galle was filled with sand after the waves began to wash ashore yesterday. The sand in the area was removed today. Many boats at the Galle Fisheries Harbour had been swept away and many others were damaged. 3 youth who were swimming in the Sithagalla natural seawater pool in Gandhara Talalla were also swept into the sea. 2 of them survived and the other remains missing. The missing was identified as a 22-year-old man and a search and rescue operation is underway. A woman was swept away by strong currents in Usatekeyava, Pamunuva and later died upon admission to hospital. The Vimala Surendra Reservoir overflowed today due to the heavy showers that battered the area. Flow of traffic was disrupted along the Muskelia-Ginigathena main road across Norton Bridge due to earth slips in the area.
Good evening, this is Weather First, bringing you the latest weather updates. I'm Senator Senanayaka. As you know, the southwest monsoon is upon us. Yesterday evening we saw ocean waves reaching inlands in Galle and Mathura areas. The Met Department said that this has nothing to do with a tsunami situation. According to the Met Department, however, a similar situation of where ocean waves swelling up could take place in Puttalam, Colombo, Galle, Mathura, Hambantota and Pothuil areas during the coming few days as well. In terms of showery conditions, Sabaragamuwa, Kandy, Norelia and Galle and Mathura districts as well. In these areas, showers exceeding 100 millimeters could take place in the coming few days. During the past 24-hour window that ended at 8:30 a.m. this morning, Kottawala area recorded the highest rainfall exceeding more than 158 millimeters. Taking a look at the wind speeds across the country in coastal areas and other low-lying areas, wind speeds could increase up to 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. This is of course according to the Met Department. The Met Department also says that wind speeds in Kandy and Norelia could increase up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Apart from that, the Met Department has also issued landslide warnings to the people in the central province, especially in areas that are prone to landslides. Now, apart from that, the Met Department says that the prevailing weather condition could continue during the next few days. That's mainly because of the southwest monsoon.
Thank you, Senator, for bringing that update. Given the situation we Sri Lankans are in today, donating rations to a needy family is somewhat extending their lifeline. Today, Gammadha delivered relief packages to needy families in several forgotten villages.
No amount of tears can end hunger, and these families have made all attempts possible to feed their children. Gammadha provided relief packages to the Unanvitiya, Kahaduwa, Pahatavallivitiya, Batapola and Ampegammuwa villages in Galle. In addition, families in Gamanupura and Singhapura in Trincomalee were also given relief packages, and when Gammadha visited these villages, many were already in the fuel queue. In addition, Gammadha also delivered relief packages to the family of the late Chaminda Pushpkumara from Pannala, who died while in the fuel queue.
මං හරියම අසරණ වෙලා ඉන්නේ ළමයි දෙන්නට උගන්න ගන්න මට ඇත්තටම සල්ලි නැහැ.
In the midst of the worsening fuel crisis, Gammadda continues to reach out to the rural communities. It is because of the generosity extended by heartwarming Sri Lankans that Gammadda can provide relief to the people from remote areas in the country. Gammadda salutes you for your generosity.
News First with the people.
And in sports news, Yupunabekon has broken the Sri Lanka and South Asia record for the men's 100-meter event.
Yupu Nabekun, who qualified for the finals of the 100 meters event at the Resisprint International Athletics Tournament in Switzerland, finished with a time of 9.96 seconds. He has broken his own record set last May, where he recorded a time of 10.06 seconds. This is also the first time that a South Asian athlete has completed the 100 meters race in less than 10 seconds.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. This is News First with the people.
Kidney diseases have plagued the villages of Madukare for many years. For 335 families that once relied on impure water, there's some hope. A water purification project by Gammadda. Gammadda.